of the sensory creativity is
This one's about getting
wandering through the epitome of existence. I'm gonna go where the words me and you rock.
He sings a deep-throated songbird lullaby for blues in my ear.
This is Barley Rise!
A toast to you, dear quill wielders, those daring heroes of ink who dare to expose the holes in your armor for the ability to show your strength. To you, audience members, to whom we have the great honor of thanking for hearing, reading, listening to the literature of our hearts. And finally, to the bartender who keeps our thirst slaked for the sake of fools and geniuses. To all of you I say, cheers!
Cheers!
Let's do some poetry. A very, very, very talented poet here from Flagstaff, or living in Flagstaff, a Flagstaffian in my heart, Josh. Josh Wiss, come on up here.
Woo!
Hey, yo. Very happy to be here, like always. It's beautiful to see you all, you beautiful people.
Thank you.
This one's called Love, Stoplights, Drugs. Love is psychedelic and random, like being stuck at a stoplight. It's the green yelling, go! Yellow yielding all that you know to be useless. Love is lipstick unlocked. It is hips ground in unrest, and it's red and it's stop. In small doses, this dope has been known to do damage. It starts in your guts as a butterfly's fluttering, followed by a flood rushing in. Convulsing currents for skin as love dives into the deep end of your bloodstream, screaming. Accept the oscillations. Catch a wild wavelength, but know that your strengths hug your weaknesses like a chain-link fence. That love doesn't have to make sense. It can come on like bulldozer psychosis, and depending on dosage, may leave you alone with jelly for bones and oncoming traffic. The impact is magic. And your eye contact is incredible. Endorphins perk up at the thought of your soft. I am lysergically lost, a romantic hypochondriac horrified of heartbreak, but ever a sucker for despair. I love when words start to stumble before they ever meet air, but be careful who you look at like that. You never know which flash cast from angel wish eyelashes just might catch wildfire around here. There are embers in your irises, molten magma in that stare. It's everywhere. Stoplights change fast, and every corner cuts heartbreak cocaine. I am blotter sheet LSD caught outside in the rain. Let me into your heart to feel the rush of your veins. I am a highway, spread artery thin, an interstate interconnecting a pipeline of people who ride through my life like road trips. I am cracked from the beat of the sun, black with the tread of your run, honey. It's fun while it lasts, but everyone exits eventually. Love's after party leaves me litterbug confused. I'm cigarette butt abused, but it's beautiful the way fiberglass finds flora. Our follicles are forest-like foliage. Every one of us is a blooming bouquet. Every pore is perfection. Your sweat sings sweet symphonies of wind over skin. Love the one that you're in. Buckle up for the ride because this road knows no end. Pucker up and kiss bliss, beauty blossom. Embrace this ecstasy. I love you, you idiosyncrasy, you unfolding flower, euphoria.
Josh Weiss. Give it one more time for Josh Weiss, everybody. Jackson, there was something I was supposed to tell them, but I can't remember. Do you know what it was?
Why would I know that?
Oh, all right. Thank you.
I'm going to do this one because I haven't memorized the best, and I feel like I'd mess up any other one. And it's never been recorded before. This is a place for the rebels, guys. A place to revel in the free verse stylings of the young dissonant dissidents, fighting a losing battle because our only weapons are the dried nibs of some cheap click Bic pens, stupidly stringing together semi-coherent sentences about revolution. It's hard to expect much more from the second-rate products of these no child left behind educational system of a round-down culture and the kind of public schools I went to give a good argument for changing the spelling of euthanasia. They're fighting about teaching creationism in public schools, but I think the censoring of creativity is a bigger concern right now. I can't even begin to describe how awful budget cuts are for self-expression, but I guess that's the point, isn't it? I used to be an artist, back when I could count my age on 2 hands and my limitations on 0 fingers. You can bet they tried to beat that out of me, though. Luckily, I was good at standardized tests, so I got to sneak off with a daydream every once in a while everyone else had to learn how to exceed their aims. They're trying to mint new kids identifiable only by their social serial numbers, like somehow they forgot the reason you're valuable is because you're not me. It's a worthless watch if it's just a bunch of second hands, but we have to appeal to the lowest common denominator. We wouldn't want to hurt any feelings, right? Oh, you want to stretch your creative wings? Buddy, you're in the wrong place. Don't you know penguins are jealous of eagles like you? Poor guys can't even fly, you know? You obviously haven't learned how to be indoctrinated right. But we're patient, pal. We'll run you through the social machine again, hopefully fix those weird defects this time. No child left behind, right? And they say American factories don't produce anything anymore. But no one being led ahead is a problem. You can't spend 12 years forcing us to conform to the mean and then complain that none of us is ready to stand up to the world's problems. I tried to be different, but even art classes are standardized nowadays. What chance did I have of becoming a meaningful individual? Adult authority is devastatingly effective for suppressing the imaginations of young kids. The thing is, everyone's pissed off about sweatshops, but no one's closed down the public schools yet. It's not like these underpaid teacher slaves can really be expected to produce anything of high quality in these conditions. The fact that the people entrusted with America's children can't afford to provide for their own seems like a bad sign to me. And I'm about to become one of these teachers. I want to be able to make myself matter, but it's hard to change many lives on $30 per student per year. You can't be relevant for less than the price of a tank of gas. I never wanted to be a preacher, but it's time for someone to make a sermon, so I guess I am now. I'm just preaching to the choir here, though, to the cast-off outliers of a sick society who already understand all too well just how broken we are. They say that talk is cheap, but I've never been rich. And sometimes it's all I can afford. Thank you. Can I get my face, like, pixelated out like Cops?
Fucking Jackson. All right. That man inspires me every time he opens his face. So next up is the very lovely, the very talented, the epic, poetic brain, Verbal Kensington. Come on down.
This one's about getting hit on by a douchebag in a bar. This bar, actually. On a day when I was very drunk.
Point out the douchebag.
Not here.
Is that guy in the hat right there?
No, he was leaving in the morning. You know, I'm leaving in the morning. These words slipped casually from his lips, cascading down his flinted chin to fall at my feet and puddle there between us. He's holding my gaze unflinching, as if it could tractor beam reel me in, but his game, it's too weak. And this line wavers now in the silent space between us as I am warp speed shifting my trajectory, all power to starboard and gunning for a cause. He has no escape plan. He's no criminal mastermind. Just some two-penny panty raider doesn't realize he's tripped my alarm, all that stumbling around in the dark. So I lean in close and say, listen, don't mistake my open door for an invitation. Don't mistake my nice for naive, because I was born on a day, but it wasn't yesterday, and you don't know me. I collect jaw drops and eye pops till my pockets fucking jingle. Smiles cost nothing, so I hand them out freely, but do not forget, they are still made of teeth. And right now, these meat eaters, they're just a tongue tip from savage, and you, a sick wildebeest, trailing behind the herd. So if you think you can keep up, baby, better pick up the pace. But don't look me in the face and say that you're leaving in the morning. when what you mean to say is that you are a head trip which will only come my way once, so I better hop on and ride while it lasts, which I can imagine won't be very long. See, you fancy yourself a barreling freight train and you've pegged me for a passenger, but I'm a destination. I am not some spit-shine subway station to be casually passed through. I'm a vast country, awaiting exploration, my landscape brilliant and beautiful. But I am obviously foreign to you because you're not speaking my language, and this is not the kind of dish one gets to order up from a picture. I'm a fine linen display of 5-course delight, not some blue plate casual Saturday night. And I know my ribcage sign flashes neon open, but don't confuse my kindness for a corner store. There's a winning lotto ticket ticking countdown behind the counter, still you'll find nothing quick or convenient here, though I am happy to make change. And I know the signs just say shirts and shoes, but the best dates show up dressed in sweltering self-respect, and I am the longest day of summer, all lightning and June bugs, tongue-kissing the starshine into late-night conversations, and what you're telling me is you don't have that kind of time, which is fine. But I am no napkin poem or matchbook phone number, and I will not be crumpled and lost to tomorrow's wash. Still, I'm sure that this bar holds some pretty pink panty waist of a girl perfectly willing to jump smiling into your bed of bullshit, but I've always preferred sheets, even if they are only made of paper. And all I know about you is that you're leaving in the morning, and I'm not the one-line happy ending to anyone's bedtime story. Thank you.
Ian, I'm gonna ask you. All right, give it up one more time for Barbo. I have to say it like that because I just love that name. All right, this is one of my favorite people ever because she's just so amazing. Everybody give it up. You're for a real treat right now. Real treat. Give it up for Gabbi Jue.
Often I would stand in front of my mother, pathetically fashion showing a blouse lacking the physiology to fill it out, saying, "This is why I need a boob job." Displaying my merely A-cup chest that has left my brow hollow candy dishes as if I were presenting something spectacular. For years, I've reached down to the lowest pit of self-esteem, fishing for superficial comfort that distorted views had painted, for my young eyes to feast upon like wandering eyes of men of voluptuous beauties. I would covet full-figured women, comparing everything I lacked with everything I believed that they were. By age 9, I would stuff my shirt with tissue paper, just to savor a glimpse of future promises from magazines I was too young to read. By age 11, my friend begged her mother to buy us training bras that served absolutely no purpose, but to make us feel grown up enough to resemble what we thought boys would desire. By age 12, we entered junior high, long enough to realize we had to look like the big girls. Age 13, she began looking like a big girl. 14, she was a woman. 15, I still hung onto those cutout magazine promises. 16, I picked apart every millimeter of flaw-consuming lies I would convince myself of. 17, I began hating myself. 18, 19, 20, I didn't believe I was good enough to fit into what I'd been told how to look. I wanted to be noticed, desired, apologizing to any guy who wanted to fill me up, responding, "Dude, I don't know what the hell you think there is to grab there," constantly feeling inadequate to the opposite sex due to belief system that I would never measure up to anyone unless my body was injected, implanted, and butchered into flawlessness. As children, we are raised to believe being different is shameful, so we grow up thinking our bodies are supposed to be shattered mirror images displayed across Hollywood visions, flashing across our eyes with the speed of marquee repetition. Our world has plastered that, the mindset of our youth, has plastered that onto every child who has ever wanted to be like everybody else. So let's riot. Rise above the lies, look this world in the eyes and say you're wrong. You've been wrong. If you've got 'em, flaunt 'em. Flaunt your confidence, your dominance, your self-worth, and your prominence so damn hard that love and light shine through your face as sunbeams, leaving any man no other choice for his eyes to wander anywhere else, but to see pure love and beauty from your soul, because you are more beautiful than social standards. Now believe it. Thanks. Sorry.
Jordan Firman, come on up. Woo!
How's it going? All right. I know that it wasn't a mere coincidence that you ended up here. I've been paying attention. I've seen each hand-picked item disappear from the shelves that we share. Seen you stealing sand from my hourglass only for it to slip through your fingers lost in time. But then your bag's filled up, and you stumbled here. So why don't you unpack those bags from under your eyes, stay here for a while, and maybe we can rediscover the spark. We can close our eyes and drift, and in our slumber we can perform the ballet that we never could, of two independent droplets of dew coalescing to form one cohesive body, wandering through the epitome of existence, meandering in and out of time, lost in circumventing circles, and as circles intersect, our fleeting minds can cross paths. Diverging destinies finally rest at ease, and the rest of these converge, so won't you please just tango with me, that beautiful step. And we can dance to the tune that resonates through my bones every time you give me the opportunity to play the harpstrings of your hips. Your siren song overtaking my ship, but I've seen the rocks of these shores before. The first time that I crashed face first into yours, the day that you invited me onto your beaches, the day that you shattered my sailboat to pieces, rediscovering the sand between my toes. I know. I miss it too. I miss the waltz under incandescent light bulbs reflecting off naked eyes, skimming the blacktop like paperback novels romanticized, thanking God for every moment as Newton's laws spin you closer. Perfect balance like planetary motion, resonation like the sounds of locomotives, reciprocation like sitcom emotions, only to be brought to a screaming halt by reality. Distance is measured in feet, and it turns out that I don't have the right ones. And 2 left feet makes my 2-step more like 2 1-steps, but your feet are just right, giving you a perfect 1-2 step, and my 2 1-steps don't line up with your 1-2 steps, and it doesn't matter how our steps line up because it's still 2 steps too far. But there's something beautiful in dreams. No matter how far my mind wanders, my body stays right here. So I'm not asking for 20 more miles because these souls are worn out. Instead, I'm kicking off my shoes and asking you to rest with me.
One more time for Jordan Firman, everybody. All right, so now here comes my doppelganger. He really, really is my doppelganger. I just think I happen to look better. Well, no, but he grows a better beard. Mine just grows in all spotchy, and get your butt up here, man. Everyone, Ian!
Can't you tell we're related? Brother.
Wait.
No, you
Wait,
go away.
you handle that. Because I will...
Pretty sure the camera didn't record the, fucked up my vibe, man. All right. So some of you know that I try to write a poem during these Barley Rhymes events or other poetic events and then perform it in the same day. This one, I kind of started one day, but I finished today, so I'm going to count it. And I apologize if this offends somebody or something. Legs! I am a leg man. I know some of you like titties. I know, ladies, this might sound sexist, but I am not a breast man. I mean, I can appreciate curves and cleavage like the next guy, and I understand why they're on magazine beauties. But I am a leg man. Because legs are what you stand on to stand up to sons of bitches like me who might be checking you out from across the room. Legs are what give you great strides past inequalities you didn't create. Legs are what hiked my great-grandmother across Alaskan glaciers to pick berries that went into baked goods that fed customers in her very own business. She lived 103 years. Legs walked my grandmother to work at Lockheed Martin, where she Rosie the Riveted her way through the last World War while running her boarding house with her mother and raising 4 siblings, and also graduating high school in a time that she was just expected to settle down. And she didn't stop there. Legs took my mother to protests against war and for equality, to far-off places where she donated her education for the betterment of the world, or so she hopes. Legs pushed and carried my sister through sports her foremothers were never allowed to push through. Legs are long and lean, muscular and strong. Strong. Just like you. So stop worrying about your curves, ladies. They are beautiful even if you think they are too subtle. Because I see them. And they are everything I hoped they could be. Because you are everything I hoped you could be. And your legs are the pedestals upon which you stand. On the marble forms of history, you see my arms are where my strength is, and they're good for a lot of things. But with your legs and that curviest, sexiest, supplest, most tantalizing brain of yours, you can run, you can climb, you can fight, and you can conquer my heart, but even better, you can conquer the world. Thank you. He's gonna make me pee.
I love this guy. So, like, how amazing is Ian? Everybody give it up for my doppelganger, Ian! I love you. Like, I really...
Sounds good.
All right, everybody, give it up for our resident, resident what?
Angel-headed hipster.
Tim!
Mothafucking
Leavy!
Well, I hope I can live up to that. I'm either gonna pretend that you're not here or in your underwear. Which would you prefer?
Underwear.
Yeah? Oh, let me see it.
Underwear.
Let me see it. Oh, that's what I'm picturing all day long. Oh, shit. I'm gonna be one of those guys that reads off the phone. Sorry. The aftermath of a snow and the afterbirth of a soul meet somewhere in between to discuss the day, and how when the sun hits them, they both just melt. There isn't a penny in the pot, and the door's been long since locked. The heart beats until it bursts from the chest, but the mind remains dormant, melting away. No general, no president, no emperor, nor sun king can reverse the effects of the red, green, blue glow that's positioned itself in the manner to the thinking. No words fall into place, only images of brutal lovemaking initiated through the population's generation of popular self-loathing. No coup de grace, no piece de resistance, no eureka shall be exclaimed. The beaten path has been paved, the obscene and the once unwritable, unfathomable to the minds of those pressing along on the road. The beat still pounds. But the enigmatical, counterculture that could not be found was tortured and beaten to death until it relinquished its code. To howl at the top of one's Ginsbergian lungs, wine, drugs, sex, cock, pussy, wine, drugs, sex, cock, pussy, wine, drugs, sex, cock, pussy, is now reserved for pubescent lunch tables as a means to cajole. Death knocks at a doorstep once a day, laying nail after nail after nail after nail after nail after nail, hammering in a long since decomposed embodiment, a light bulb Thunder and lightning in a mason jar whose lid was never screwed quite tight enough. We've been told that we have beaten the fascists, the racists, the censors. Lies. Each one a popular lie. Truth will not be seen until the coffin is sealed and tucked away from nostalgic grave robbers ready for liberation. The city streets are hip. The city streets featured on your fashion magazines, on your television screens, trapped behind panes of glass, sitting on your lap like a dog hungry for your flesh and attention. The city streets are hip. Ask the rotten, 6 feet behind. Depending on your cable provider, you can find them on channel 539.
Oh, that Tim. He's also a bartender here at Hops on Birch, which makes him pretty fancy-pantsy in my eyes. Yeah! Alex Garber. Alex. This guy, I've been waiting for this guy. I mean, Jesus. Not only does he have epic manly facial hair, but he's also kind of fucking awesome. We'll just move that way up there. Thank you. There you go. Thank you.
Hey, how many know what a double dactyl is? Anyone? We got 1, 2, couple? Right here. Okay, I'm going to read you a double dactyl. It's a thing. You can look it up later. All right, Piggly Wiggly, monosyllabically. Oftentimes poems are written as such. But if you improve them hexasyllabically, it oftentimes improves the lines in their flex. That's a double dactyl right there for you. And where's Kalif? Kalif, you in here? Hey, I wrote you a dirty limerick.
Oh, yes! Yes!
Yes! And I think Eric will appreciate it.
Yes!
I once fucked a girl named Janae. Her cherry intact, so they say. But her thought of fun involved her fine bum, and I thought, thank God that I'm gay.
Alex, I love you so much. I love you so much. Yes! Yes!
So I'm just gonna shift gears so hard here. This is this one is really sincere, and it's autobiographical and everything, and yeah, here we go. I'm so grateful to have a partner as loving as she. A newfound confidence in me grows from a seed she planted. And I'm still amazed by her patience and understanding. Marriage and kids and all that shit, neither one of us are ready for. I think all she ever wanted was something simpler, yet I couldn't escape the pressures of the relationship. I fled. My family was all in on her, save for my dad. As his old saying goes, why make one miserable when you can make them all happy? Are these sagacious words from my wise old man? Or are they lashings of an embittered, obdurate escapist who'd be much happier in a cave by his lonesome than in a 30-year marriage? Like in all things, I saw the extremes, one side urging me toward fidelity, the other to its counterpart. But, like in all things, I sought out the middle, appeasing neither side and finding my own path. I don't need a wife, and I don't need philandering. I'm happy on my own, spending far too many hours in this bar, cultivating any relationship that comes my way. I am grateful for this bar, for it lures me from my cave and it gives me an excuse to socialize. Without it, I'd be at home reading, a valuable pastime, but it's one that drives in the stake that we call loneliness. Thanks for being here, Hops on Birch, and thank you to all the people that make my time here tenable.
Yeah! Woo!
Okay, next up. one more poet, and then beer break. Restless beer drinkers. Listen up. Coming up is the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who twirls us all on plates above his head, Kalif. Kalif, come on up.
All right, so I'm not gonna say that I wasn't gonna not read. I'm just waiting, until the end. But we'll have the opportunity to be published, and it's just an amazing thing. But don't forget, we're still a bar drinking beer, saying poetry. That's at the end of the day. That's what it is, and we're about the art. All right, here we go. Long live my master. He who taught me to play the game of life. He was a strong man, strong as the trunk of a large tree. He was a black man, as dark as the jacaranda tree. So full of life was I, so unlearned was I. He was 70 years old when I first met him. Down in his school, teaching games like Luna, Santa Maria, Salbento Grande. There were looks in his eyes that could cut us down. Take raw energy and give it to the world. Volta mundo. Go around the world. Volta mundo. Go. Spread love. Volta mundo. We shall love on the beach. We shall love in the dirt. We shall love in the palaces. Volto mundo. Capoeira. Volto mundo. Shanky, there's something like that for you guys. That's it.
Next up is someone who does not share half enough as much as she should, but is a deep thinker, a wonderful mind. Give it up for Lauren Hanss.
Did you know that the universe sings? Scientists have recordings of Saturn's rings crying out across the airless expanses of space, and they echo blue whales humming. I think the northern lights can hear them and dance, caught between the harmonies. When piano keys tremble, so does my skin. The same skin, I swore, burns more than the whiskey spilt across my pages. You were the star I always wanted to touch, but your embers burnt holes in the palms of my hands, and you slipped through my fingers. You taught me never to believe anybody who says they like your smile. They just get off on seeing little bits of skeleton poking through your gums. You always loved the phrase to the moon and back, but I wanted to attempt to reconcile Andromeda and Cassiopeia, or find Gallifrey burning like a lover somewhere. I think this is why Icarus died happy. He kissed the sun and the whole sky blushed. I've kissed the moon and left craters behind. I swear my lips have roamed planets, and my scars are comet tails. I think this is why the ocean loves every ship that shortcuts through her to get to lovers on shore. I've been looking for the sea so I can find a way out, but you see, the turtle, she said that her shell is her spine, and you are my backbone, and you are my ribs, and you are the home I can never get back. You were mine for monsoons and thunder. You burned like the first snow and made me fall like autumn with matches struck against my teeth, tasting the ashes before the fire. Today I saw you on some street, and I wondered if you still drink whiskey like me, begging your lungs to let it drown you. I wondered if you've ever seen me on the street and still been so in love you couldn't speak. This is a letter to all the sunflower girls like me. We've been collecting sunshine until we burned supernova, and we've got the burns to prove it. I've been building my home under your volcano for months now. See, you know, letting go is making a daisy chain, and I could break this so easily, but I'll let the weeds overrun me just to keep the promise of summer around. And you lay where I rest my bones. And God knows I'm still gonna write about you, but I'll trace the phases of the moon down my arms to remind myself to never stand still long enough for you to leave more craters in me. I am letting you go, and you have no idea that you are alone. I'm burning up the sun just to say goodbye.
One more time for Lauren Hanss. Hanss. Well, I like to say Hanss. Hanss was an old character. She's sexy and talented.
Ready to go.
Oh.
Eric, go. Okay, like I said, this is a poem that I wrote. It's called For Every Action. It's a new poem. I hope you like it. It goes, well, let's see. What's the first line? The apple pulls the earth as sure as the earth pulls the apple. There is moving power in the centers of things, and that means that if I jump from the ledge of a high building, the sidewalk reaches up to catch me. Maybe it reaches up to catch me with the frantic breath of one afraid, or maybe it reaches up to catch me with outstretched arms in reflection of my outstretched arms, and soft grace in reflection of my soft grace. There is moving power in the centers of things. Whenever one thing flies, the whole earth has wings. Whenever anything flies, the earth also flies. The apple pulls the earth as sure as the earth pulls the apple. Drop a pencil and watch the ground receive it. The principle is universal. Give your sorrows to the wind, and the wind will take them. Give your tears to the ocean, and the ocean will take them and put them into ocean clouds, and the ocean clouds will move to mountains you have never seen and fall as rain onto the cheeks of people you will never know. And they will say out loud, "Thank you. Your heart is beautiful. I know this to be true. I felt it on my cheeks." The apple pulls the earth as sure as the earth pulls the apple. Your existence is measurable. You exert force on distant galaxies. This is measurable, and somewhere someone is measuring you and saying, "Look, there's one more person on planet Earth than we had previously thought. We must write this down." I wonder if they have a name and if it is beautiful. But they will never know, though you know. So go outside and walk down a street and feel every branch of every tree reach out to you, and every pane of every window bulge out as you go by, and every head of hair lift up as though in the wind, because you walked by. I know that's hard to believe, but that's just science. Can I do another poem? Cool. This poem is, I don't know what it's called, but it's, I'll preface it with my favorite sentence that someone else wrote. It's from Don Quixote, and it goes something like, "The maddest thing of all is to see the world as it is and not as it should be." And that's something that I try to remind myself of often, and this is what that poem is about. A little boy sat on his grandfather's lap, and the grandfather said, "Always remember, the idea of a sunflower is the only thing about a sunflower that glows in the dark." Now the boy is a man, and this man owns a house, and in this house there is a table with one drawer, and in this drawer there is a book with 300 first pages, and every page is blank. And every night before he goes to bed, he takes the book out and stares at the pages until just before he begins to feel like a weirdo, because he's very afraid of seeming like a weirdo, although he lives alone. Now he owns a goldfish, and one day this goldfish says, "Hey man, every day I see you take out this book and stare at the pages. Why don't you write something for once?" So he takes out a pen and writes, "The day I take advice from a goldfish will be the day that I escape from my awful existence." And no sooner does he put down the pen when a giant ship crashes through the side of his house, and the ship captain leans over the railing and says, "I need you to fight pirates with me." So he closes his eyes and says, "The idea of a sunflower is the only thing about a sunflower that glows in the dark." When he opens his eyes, the pirate is gone. Several years pass, and the man has become rich and famous due to the publication of his first novel, Mr. Smith the Pirate Killer. However, he is still lonely and spends most of his time at the zoo. He's particularly drawn to the penguins. Now, in this city, there's a very large zoo, and every day hundreds of children walk by and tap on the penguin glass. And one day, this is this penguin, and he's a very patient penguin, but every penguin has his breaking point. So one day he says, "Excuse me, will you please stop tapping on my glass?" And there's this little kid, and he says, "What are you gonna do? Fly away?" So the man knows that nobody responds to a challenge like an angry penguin. So he waits until nightfall, and at the stroke of midnight, he sees the penguin stretch his wings, run as fast as he can, and he flies away. And as the penguin gets smaller and smaller in the distance, the man closes his eyes and says, "The idea of a sunflower is the only thing about a sunflower that glows in the dark." When he opens his eyes, the penguin is gone. Several more years pass, and the man decides he has been lonely long enough and goes in search of a wife. He's heard of this woman, and this woman has the largest nose in the Tri-County area. And every day she walks down the street, people cry, "There goes Nosy Nellie!" And the very same day that this man goes to see this woman, she says, "I'm fed up, I'm sick and tired, and I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back." And there's this little kid, and he says, "Where are you gonna go?" She says, "I'm gonna go where the bumblebees fly as high as eagles, where streets are still cobbled, where people open doors for people, and nobody calls you Nosy Nellie if you have a big nose, where people fall in love and never get out of it again. I'm gonna go where the clouds gather into the shapes of the alphabet if you ask real nice, and ship captains often ask you to fight pirates with them, and seasickness is not a thing. I'm gonna go where the words me and you rhyme, where sunflowers glow in the dark, and everybody understands Shakespeare, and nobody never ever calls you Nosy Nellie, even if you have the biggest nose in the Tri-County area. I'm going and I'm never coming back." So the man closes his eyes and says, "The idea of a sunflower is the only thing about a sunflower that glows in the dark." When he opens his eyes, the woman is gone, and nobody ever saw her again. Now he is old and he sits on a bench by the ocean. He concentrates on feeding the pigeons. All of a sudden, the pigeons explode in a cloud of feathers and squawking, and he looks up and he sees a ship. And leaning over the ship railing is a ship captain, and next to the ship captain is a young woman with a very large nose. And circling the mast is a penguin with outstretched wings. And the ship captain says, "I still need you to fight pirates with me, please." So the old man boards the ship, and they set sail in a direction that isn't particularly north or south, and isn't exactly east or west. They sail and sail for days and days. And finally, one night, when it is the man's turn to look out for sea monsters, he sees the faint outline of land and a vast meadow of sunflowers softly glowing under a very dark sky. Thanks.
Everybody, please give it up for the one, the only, the beautiful Sharece!
Sorry, hold on. Fuck it. Fake it till you make it.
You got this.
In a town that breaks us, I feel like broccoli echoes somewhere through the ether of the dim-lit morning. Put no limitation on the word. I wonder if you too have ever felt like a natural slave. In the city, I say nothing. My plan was simply to live. I see you're still lit by shadow, but what is living when you are ripped from the ground beneath you, only to be fed by the baying hounds of war, lost in the confusion of machines? Where the home-free haggard and outsiders of the star-spangled home of the free, land of the sick and tired, wander the streets naked and dirty, weeping in hunger for the unconditional love of the mule-backed brothers and sisters of the generation. We struggle with the weight of our love under the strain and misfortunes of anxiety and confusion, dissatisfaction and beguile, solitude, separation, and the endless depression. I feel like broccoli, says the wife who sits behind the glass, unheard and unappreciated by the man who once freed her from the pilgrimage away from her quintessential self and from her fluent feline-speaking family and friends. Her soul has now become an iridescent silhouette, forever lost in the depths of the stagnant waters of the abyss. I feel like broccoli whispers the man in the iron chair who was wrongfully given the predetermined fate of Cassiopeia. He stares into the backdrop canopy of stars as thick as milk. He would dig his way out of this death hole with one hand if he could, resurrecting himself out of the flames of this burning madhouse, but instead is left to burn alive, choking on the smoke of our society's disillusion under the vast western sky. I feel like broccoli screams the man driven by madness, by his waking nightmare of the psychic vampires who come to him in his sleep, growing old in the house of the stimulus bottom feeders with nothing to show for it but notebooks that tower over him like skyscrapers and his mouth falling apart like the Mona Lisa. He cries with the thought of the decade. This is for the catatonic conversationalists who contemplate the death of art and how the world has always been flat. For the autistic aristocrats that sit on the thrones of our kingdom of compost. We have been waiting within this cosmic void of pre-ejaculated endeavors for the radical shift into postmodern tribalism and the rediscovery of higher consciousness. For all the people like me who lie, cheat, and steal for the people that we love. This is a war cry. This is for Ray Johnson, Jesus Christ, and Abner J. This is for Hugo Ball, Nick Drake, and for Brodagon, too. Henry Darger, Morgan Blackgoat, and Hemingway, to haul all of the holy niggers in the world who walk these sad street of loneliness, singing the wild cocaine blues of the mind-altering reality. This is a fire, this is a voodoo holler incantation to set back the unforgiving hammerheads of time, reverse the access of the world to the day where our hands once told you who you were, and now as chemtrails engraved in the palm of your hands only tell us where we are going, and I am sad to say it is nowhere. There must be a way to escape this fresh hell of plastic and pavement. Divine transportation, take me to the gates of heaven, where there are angels fucking on the freeway. And God, Jesus, Joseph, Moses, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, Dharma, Karma, Cosmic Muffin, Siddhartha, Marsha, Mother Nature, all the haters, all the lovers, Danny Glover. The power, the oneness, the highness, the lowness, cosmic shit, West Coast, the ocean, magic potions, emotion, and the ever-constant and present motion greets me with open arms. With a smile, they welcome me home and say, we've been waiting for you. You beautiful stoic, you divine broken soul, rest the rag and bones of you. Under this diamond-studded streets of stars, may you lay on the bed of the Milky Way. As they lick my wounds clean, I will lay myself down with my legs open to the sun as he penetrates me with his romance and song. He sings a deep-throated songbird lullaby of the blues in my ear of memories that have never been told. The intuitive self-secret of life, he whispers to me, art, eat, fuck. Art, eat, fuck. Art, eat, fuck. Art, eat, fuck. Whew. Let us tear down the walls of the introverted hallway to each other's artichoke hearts. Let us peel the layers of skin and clothing and embrace each other's naked truth of sincerity through the cock and balls unbound and the immaculate cunt. Let us no longer wave our fists like Nazi jailers in the air, begging for the keys of our freedom from the hollow-eyed, soul-snatching shrewds who sit on the tops of the totem pole. But instead, whisper our dreams in hand and use these fists like radiant in spaceships and beam them to the moon like emulated raindrops scattered across the road. Ride on the coattails of shooting stars. Ride on. Thank you.
Oh my God, seriously, Sharece, just the fucking cherry on top right there. Goodness gracious. Where you all wrote a poem tonight. You all put down a word on a blank piece of paper, and Kalif is going to come up and tell you what your poem is. Kalif, come on up.
I need you, Ian. This won't stay. Or Tim, where's Timmy? What? Timmy. No, this is not. This is real life. Make it stay right there.
Quit fucking with it. Get to the joke, Steve Mark. You're done. Good. Right there. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. So listen, I don't even need that. Don't get mad at me. I'm not the creative genius behind this piece. You guys are. All right, you guys ready for this? Ready to do this and close it out and say goodnight? All right, here we go. The truth of the matter is, I'm a turkey fuck glitter bomb Tyrannosaurus Rex fuck up. It's the truth. Worse than a cum Burton recalcitrant dirt Sanchez poop shit ordained into pissology motherfucker. My insolence and resolve is that of a jellyfish in this postmodern bullshit clarified sort of time. You know, where everybody sits around eating pizza and talks about this fuck and that fuck and turkey this and, oh, by the way, can I get another pumpkin porter, please? We're all in this together. It's a sesquipedalian pop-up of a trench foot existence. I mean, to have to understand that you're a cunt bastard with the necessity to stroll down the street in fresh dirt and rice gas burning through an exhaust pipe existence. And all you want is an aphrodisiac. To nullify your lackluster phenomenon enemy way of life. Levon's whoop whoop couldn't do it with the spacious soul, and I damn sure hope that you don't end up as some slimy dick jacket with cheese and phalanges. Best caught in your Don Quixote existence. If you give me a moment to be immemorial and understand the sections of my spectacular, skoink, handsome, phallus maximus self, I'm sure that I won't produce poopy panties satisfied. You will be as satisfied as men with hairless asses. This pogue motion makes a spectacular glove of protection from the butt pirates. And lest we forget the squid liquor. I mean, I hear they have kangaroos in Hullabaloo. But most people relate to the boobs. And the panache maman of me saying, I'm better than Sweet Dick Willie. Because if I was Sweet Dick Willie, I'd say, then I pissed in your butt. But I'm not. As my ex-wife would testify, I'm more of a womb broom who simply loves the finer things of tequila and capoeira. Because I am an Anglo true and true and true and true. And in that we can all agree. We'll run from here in fervent excitement because we'll all be wearing assless chaps. Yeah. But then again, who isn't? Everybody, I'm Kalif. Ian, get your butt up here. This is Ian. And this is Barley. Thank you for coming. We love you. We'll see you in 2 weeks from now. All right, everybody. Peace. Anything else here? And good night. Good night. Peace.